I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not super nervous. This will be the first time I put power to it. I am beaten, I am dirty, I am financially ruined. On top of all that, my nerves right now are so rattled for this first crank. I don't even know what to think. It could either jump time the first crank and shatter the engine. It could not start at all because I messed some sort of wiring up somewhere or missed a plug. There's a lot of things that can happen, but I just need to just do it. These are all the spare parts that I had left over, and there's some tools in there. I had to use grandma's jar opener to get old oil filter off. I'll set you guys up here with me. At least catch it on camera, whatever happens. By far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Mechanic-wise. Truck update. It's hot out here. Don't want to get copyright struck for that, but Bob Seger gets me through a lot of hard times. So here's where I'm at with it. I'm kind of pissed off that Ford put all these stickers on these timing chain guides, because I've been sitting here trying to scrape it all off. Because in my mind, you don't want like sticker goop and pieces, flakes of paper going down in your oil passages and blocking something off. That makes no sense, does it? So here's where I'm at. Yeah, so I know some people would be nervous to see their engine of their new truck this tore down, but it's all good, baby. The hardest part I've ran into so far is both the exhaust cams on this engine. Those bolts would not come off. And I'll put a picture up here of what I ended up having to do, because these cam locking tools wouldn't hold it by itself. So I had to do some hillbilly stuff and put a pair of vice grips on there while I was at it. Shout out to Vice Grip Garage. But yeah, the only other thing that I'm not proud to show you guys is they weren't able to get me new tensioners, but said that my tensioners would be fine. And turns out a trim nail is the same diameter as the pull pins, like the grenade pins. So all I had to do was compress these timing chain tensioners and then put a little nail in there as pins. So those pins are what I can pull once I get the new chains on, the new guides on, and get it right where I want it. You pull those two pins out and it's spring loaded. There's a spring that puts a little bit of initial pressure on it, but they're actually oil driven. There's a passage in the bottom, or in the back side of those, there's a little oil passage hole that fills it. But I cleaned off all these surfaces. I just took a little tiny plastic scraper because I don't want to gouge it. It's aluminum. And yeah, so I got all four phasers on. The inner ones are intake, the outer ones are exhaust. And yeah, I'm getting ready to throw the chains on now and the new guides, and I'll pop back in then. I had a really hard time getting this exhaust phaser off. So much so that I had to put heat on it. And if you look, you could tell that the clock spring is a little warped. That's how much heat I had to put on it. This is the Snap-on impact gun that I was using. I had it on number 3 setting, the highest setting, and it would not break it loose. And I had to put heat on it. So yeah, that scared me. I actually got to a point where I was like, what if I don't get this phaser bolt out? Then what? Then I would have to change my cam. And if you change one cam, you might as well change both cams. And if you change both cams, you might as well change the cam bearings. Then you might as well just put the heads on it, right? And I was freaking out. I went in there and told my wife, I was like, hey, because I went down to the parts store and got a long breaker bar for leverage for like torque. I said, I'm gonna go get a breaker bar and just get away from this for a second because I'm freaking out a little bit. But hey, we got it. There's 4 new phasers on there right now. Going back together, baby. Woo! And for those out there who still think chain stretch is a myth or something that you would have to have specialty tools to measure and see, nah. But it's not as extreme. The one on the right, man, it does not want to. The one on the right is the old one. The one on the left is the new one. Got home from Illinois, locked the door open. Got to sit down, take a rest on the porch. All right, guys, listen. I want to share this next milestone with you guys. So I'm trying to get the second outer chain in sync right now, but I want to go ahead and lock this one in because it's trying to walk on me as I'm doing it. And I think I got it right. From what I understand, this intake phaser needs to have that yellow lined up with that dot. The exhaust has to have that gold link lined up with that. And I'll send you guys down into the great beyond where I can't even really get down there and look. But there's a gold link down there that has to line up with the dot on that gear. And of course there's my ghetto finishing nail right there on the tensioner. I'm gonna pull to lock this one in. Because like I say, you see how it's trying to walk off of that cam? If I pull it down. There we go. So it's on it right there where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that pin, fellas. Man, I don't know if I should set up a tripod to film this because I kind of want to hold this like that while I pull the pin. Because if this thing jumps right here, I'm gonna be pissed. Because it's really hard to get that tensioner to go back in and pin, like grenade pinned or whatever. So yeah, let me pull this pin real quick. All right, got you guys set up so I can hold this while I pull my ghetto pin. Grenade launch. Well, that was a dud, wasn't it? All right, well, don't follow anything I do. This is not instructions to fix your own vehicle. Please do not sue me when you try to do what I'm doing and it doesn't work. I hope I don't get copyright, so I'll say it real quick, but I don't know what just happened, but the pin popped out and it's under tension now and everything's fine. Hey, tonight, gonna need tonight. I've listened to so much CCR, I'm ready to go in there and eat some gumbo or some jambalaya. What up, fellas? Little update. I'm pretty sure I got both chains in time. 2 chains. And I'm getting ready to pull this second homemade pin, grenade pin. And I'm hoping this one actually like tensions up like it's supposed to. I am pretty sure I've got it completely in time. So that mark is where it's supposed to be. That mark is where it's supposed to be. And down here on the crank, there is, I don't know if you guys can see that, there's like a double copper collared chain link, and that dot's supposed to be in the middle. Let me find my pliers. There they are. All right. So let's put tension back on this baby. That one worked. And yes, this really is just a finishing nail. I'm dropping the floor over there so I can get a flat tire later, but yeah, all right, so there's tension on that chain, baby, woo! Nearly as far as I wanted to get, but I got all the surface cleared off so that I can put the timing cover back on. It's back in time. There's 2 new chains, 4 new phasers. That dot is there. That dot is there. The chain behind it, I'll overlay a picture. It's where it needs to be. Let's see. That dot is there. That dot is there. So, I don't know, man. Don't expect to learn anything from me because I'm an idiot, but I think I got this. And I'm going to, once I put the engine back together, I'm going to crank it over by hand, turn it over just to make sure that I've got everything perfectly in time. But, yeah, that's where I'm going to end it off tonight. I started to not even record this process, but then I seen some comments and they were like, oh, man, I'd like to learn something. Gotcha, man. Like, record it so that I can see you do it. And I'm like, of course I will. And listen, if I go to crank this thing up and it just destroys itself and puts a big hole in the side of the block, it wouldn't be good for me, but it'd be so funny for you guys. But well, I don't know if it went viral, if it was like, hey, DIY idiot puts his engine together wrong and it catastrophically fails, then maybe I could get enough money from that video to buy a new engine. Everybody's happy, right? But I know you guys are here for a laugh, and you're probably going to get one out of this in due time. But I love you guys. I appreciate everybody just watching me in general, man, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, time to get back on this. Got the sweet voice of Derek Derry. Vice Grip Garage just in the background just saying things. So really, we just gotta clean this thing and then just throw a crank seal in her, throw a sensor seal in her, and a water neck seal. Oh, don't you go running away. Then make our own gasket. Didn't land right. Make our own gasket. The right stuff. Which is RTV right here. Room temperature volcanic eruptions. I'm not exactly sure why you would listen to me anyway for advice, but it's room temperature vulcanization. Chevy crippling nickel. Here's a video I can watch. Sorry, Derek. I almost forgot to pick this camera up and make a little bit of an update. Actually, let me get this light on. All right, so as ridiculous as this seems in a 2020 vehicle, there is no tensioning for this AC belt. The manual literally shows to just zip tie it to this harmonic balancer and crank it over, which the harmonic balancer is on. My new bolt's in there, torqued down. If you haven't noticed, my cover's on. All four of my phasers are in. I already rotated the engine 4 or 5 times to make sure there wasn't any clearance issues. We stayed in time the whole time, which is obviously fantastic news. So yeah, I got all my seals in the cover. This seal down there for that sensor, we probably can't see. And then the seal is behind this harmonic balance, you can't see that either. Great, I'm doing great. And that hillbilly shit actually worked. And once the belt got up on there, it snapped the zip tie on its own, so wha-bam! What's that plug into? Well, didn't quite reach the goal of driving the truck to work this morning, but I'm coming back on lunch and finishing that thing up. I got a couple clips I've tried. It's hard, man, to record every step of the way when you're just focused on getting something back together. Yeah, I gotta start driving that truck again. This van, I like it and all, don't get me wrong, but it's not fun to drive. Not only that, but the radio is terrible in this thing. Let me turn it on real quick, listen.
Caller, I'm a baller, I'm a shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impaler, getting high tonight. Switch the road tack, got sprayed. I hit the highway, making money to fly away. But you know there's got to be another way, yeah.
Let me turn that off real quick. See what I'm saying? I just don't hit right, you know. It sounds like, I don't know if it just has a weak signal, weak FM signal, but it sounded like some of the words were wrong. Kind of, it made the singer sound like he was a little slow or something, but either way, I got to get that truck back together. Poor old Dagburn. More on him later. I do believe it's a fair statement to say that I'm close. I just pressed in these 3 spark plug tube seals and slide over those little tubes right there. Already got that side on. And then I just got to put these well, focus, these little gaskets in here, and then this main guy that goes around the perimeter of that, put that on. Rest of that pile of parts, man, this thing is not autofocusing. And then I'm going down the road, fellas. Can't think of a better time to take a break and go ahead and change the oil, since this is the most unobstructed access I'll ever have to that oil filter. Yeah, how you like that? Ford makes its own little drain scoop. That way you could just drain the oil right out there, right onto the floor steel. I do this every time I work on these new vehicles. Always forget to put the foam underneath the intake. And trust me, it makes a difference, because you can hear a lot more noises. It's a lot less insulated, and there's a purpose for this. And actually, I'll throw it up on the screen. You'll never guess how much this piece of foam costs. That's crazy. Well, it's back together. As good as I can get it anyway. I need to cut my zip tie off here. It's a little too long. All the clips are back in. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not super nervous. This will be the first time I put power to it. I am beaten, I am dirty, I am financially ruined, and I'm wore out. And on top of all that, my nerves right now are so rattled for this first crank. I don't even know what to think. It could either jump time the first crank and shatter the engine. It could not start at all because I messed some sort of wiring up somewhere or missed a plug. There's a lot of things that can happen, but I just need to just do it. My garage is a wreck. These are all the spare parts that I had left over, and there's some tools in there. Had to use grandma's jar opener to get the oil filter off. I'll set you guys up here with me. Gotta at least catch it on camera, whatever happens. That turbo rattle's been doing that. After it closes the wastegate, it'll quit, but woo! That thing has never ran that smooth. Yeah. Man, what a relief, dude. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'll go for a test drive here in a minute. I just want to make sure all the fluids are topped off and get this thing out of the garage, man. If you guys are proud of me, give me a thumbs up, man.